You're listening to the Unheard podcast.
What's on the agenda, Sal? What have you got for us this week, big fella?
I think we're just going to talk about the stuff that's been going on with Battlestate Games and Escape from Tarkov, going back from the 25th of April up until where we are now.
Cool. So 25th of April, does that take us as far back as the Unheard drop?
Yes, so on the 25th of April 2024, Battlestate Games released patch 14.6.0, and in that patch they made some changes to the game, and they also released the Unheard edition.
How much was the Unheard?
I think for me at the time of release, it was around €95.
It's a lot of money, right?
That's an upgrade to EOD, wasn't it?
As a whole package, it was about 250 if you bought it new, yeah.
What's your thoughts on the price? Let's start it off with Mr. Sneaks. What did you think on that then?
So the thing is that even with the 90 whatever euros it was to upgrade from EOD, I was like, it is a bit steep, and I don't necessarily see the value in it as such as someone who's already got EOD, other than the access to PvE. Now, the reason that I wanted PvE, I think, is potentially different from a lot of people that potentially picked it up, and it was so I could use the PvE mode without its wiping and stuff like that as a way of kind of recording like more content and stuff on my YouTube channel and kind of doing guides and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, doing it in offline raids is all well and good, but if I've already completed that quest,
it feels a bit repetitive for you.
And like the quest items and stuff aren't there because I've already done it on my main account, right? So I can't go, oh, well, the golden pocket watch should spawn on this seat. It just seems a little bit stupid. Whereas with like the separate PvE account, I can go in and do it, quote unquote, semi-live, right? But then there was the whole like debacle with the EOD should technically get it and whatever else. But
Well, it should have, because it was always stated that EOD was the highest package, and that all DLC was free. That was what was always advertised, wasn't it?
yeah, no, 100%. And I was frustrated. I think an awful lot of people not necessarily got a little bit excessive with how they felt about it. I just think that at the time that it came out, like, I'm trying to get students through GCSEs, like I've got far more other stuff to worry about that isn't necessarily Escape from Tarkov, though I was like pretty frustrated for sure.
Yeah. You didn't buy it, did you, Dan?
I do have it, yeah. I didn't buy it immediately, but I do have it now.
You did upgrade when they reduced the price.
I did, yeah. When I first saw the price, I was going to buy it anyway.
Yeah.
But with the backlash from the community, I was kind of just waiting for the dust to settle a little bit. And then when Nikita released his statement saying we're going to do it at half price, I bought it like seconds after that went out.
Got you.
I think when they priced it at €95, my first opinion was that is way too much money for this.
Got you.
At the time when it was released, I just did not see the value in €95. But when it was half priced, I kind of just swayed and bought it.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I understand it. I did buy it on day one because obviously I am a true believer, right? and a bit of an idiot, to be honest. And then I remember Dan, you tweeting out and saying, "Do you think this will get reversed?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know. I hope so." Kind of, it does for the community. But then they released a statement saying, "Yeah, this isn't getting reversed. This is what it is." And I think the reply to you saying, "No, they've just said that the answer's no to that."
Yeah, I think there was one tweet where they doubled down on it. No, I don't think it was a tweet. It might have been a Reddit post. They doubled down on it. Yeah, and then after that, they elaborated a bit more. That's when the discount came in and some other steps.
Yeah. I think an awful lot of people was speaking out about it, and I think that was really good. Now, I probably would have ended up buying it anyway at some point. Because I did the same with EOD, and I started my Tarkov like experience on like a standard account, and I was like, holy shit, why would anyone pay like 135 or whatever it was pound for a game like EOD? And then by the end of that wipe, I bought it because I realized that I knew that I was going to put so much time into the game, right? So I felt like the Unheard of edition, I potentially would have upgraded to that at some point. I definitely wasn't happy about it, but I probably would have ended up doing it.
Yeah, either way.
I think them having that new mode, there is that heavy fear of missing out within the community.
Massively,
For sure.
I know it's the same sort of thing, just offline, but people want to get involved with it. The fact that you can progress through tasks with your friends, and it's less stress than it is like with the online servers. It's just you can chill out and play with your friends and not worry about wipes or losing progression. People want to get involved with that, and they don't want to spend money to do that.
I think it definitely really appeals because the amount of people that have played like single player Tarkov and stuff in the past, and like I never got it, but it was something that I wanted to get again in terms of like making content, because I think that like the stress and the pressure of playing Tarkov is one of the things that keeps me coming back to the game, right? It is a fairly kind of casual level, because it's usually when I'm streaming is when I'm playing games, right? Just because of time constraints. But I feel like the no wipe, more kind of quote unquote casual PvE mode is going to appeal to so many people that don't have the hours to put into the main game.
Well, the four of us are all employed. We're all in full-time employment. We're all professionals, and we don't stream full-time. So you're absolutely right there, what you said.
I completely agree, yeah. And I think for me, having the PvE access just makes it easier for me to just chill out after work and just, wind down and play some PvE Tarkov. It's still the same game. It's just, it's going to be a lot of fun. I can see some good potential for it.
We've all played it. We've all had a go at it. Have you played it, Snakes?
No, I haven't yet, because I haven't unlocked it on EOD and I haven't upgraded yet.
I think the good thing is now, especially for Edge of Darkness EOD owners, is PvE will eventually be rolled out, so you will be able to enjoy that soon.
One of the other things you got as a benefit for it was you got access to the test servers.
I've had access to the test servers since 2018. Where you got access if you were playing the game regular, and then when you got on to the ETS. You then got this little note saying, provide feedback, but don't stream it, don't speak about it,
My Battlestate Games account's been sat on ETS Access now, I would say, for well over 12 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm not saying it was like the sole reason that I upgraded to the Unheard edition, but it was definitely one of the reasons that I upgraded. And there's other stuff as well, like additional equipment and resources in stash, the fact that I've got a blue name, the melee weapon, the armband. Like, I can't lie, I'm kind of looking forward to not spending my first 1,000,000 rubles on a scav box.
I'm the opposite of that. That's one of the things I regret about buying it. That is like one of the key points when we're playing through a wipe, when you get your first scav jump box. I'm just handed it as soon as I load the game now.
Yeah, it feels good getting that first achievement, right? I can see what you mean. It kind of just removes it a little bit.
See, I'm the opposite. And I play Tarkov as if the money's my own, in my own pocket. So I actually begrudge buying it. And I think when I streamed it, Dan, you kind of noticed that and giving me grief. Like, why are you putting everything in backpacks? Buy a scav box. You have 2.4 million. I was like, I'm not spending 1.3 million on a box.
So just to segue that, I can't remember who was watching, but somebody killed someone and basically had that that like rig in their bag. They had a bag just full of like loose junk.
Loose loot.
They had accidentally bought it into raid and someone stole it.
Who was that?
I can't remember, because didn't the guy come into chat and was like, I bought the wrong bag in and it had like a load of stuff in. This is why you killed me so easily, because I couldn't walk.
I honestly, I cannot remember who it was.
He was just loaded down with all of the items he was saving and he just put the wrong backpack on.
Yeah, I put the wrong bag on.
Absolute genius.
I did it in my first ever wipe. I remember taking in a stack of backpacks, all of them, and I lost all of them.
Jesus. I remember with the bridge, and it rolled down the bridge and into the water because I forgot about gravity.
I remember killing a guy just a few wipes ago, and he had done the same thing, but his was a bag full of weapons. But they were all red because none of them had pistol grips or anything. Like, he'd been using this pilgrim to store all of his guns, and then he bought it in, and I killed him. I was like, what am I witnessing here? Jumping back a little bit, the one thing that we didn't talk about with the Unheard of edition is this whole like beacon thing.
Yeah.
that was supposed to be able to, like, you can put out a message and
It doesn't even work, does it?
It doesn't. I think it works only in PvE at the moment, and it doesn't work in PvP yet, and it won't because it needs to do a lot of testing. But I think that was where a lot of the anger went, right? But because it was supposed to, it's going to be pay to win, and you're getting absolutely like shit on by a 5-man. You call up and like fucking Avengers assemble, like all the boys turn up in slicks and altins and all of this shit, right?
After how long of waiting to get in raid though?
Well, this is the thing. I don't even know how long it would take or anything like that. It's just that was one of the things that they were talking about, but they never fleshed it out enough for people to kind of get that mad about. You know what I mean? Like it was this is going to be a thing, and then everyone was like, "Well, that's fucking terrible."
It's one of those things that needs to be displayed on Tarkov TV. I think just saying that's the thing they're adding. Yeah, because we don't know what's going to happen. Like as soon as if Steaks calls for help and I see the notification, am I going to be sat there for 5 minutes waiting to match, and then am I going to spawn on the other side of interchange to try and meet him at power? I don't know.
Yeah.
If they showed us physically on Tarkov TV, I think that would put more people's mind at rest if we see like how it works, the benefits, the negatives.
Well, I'm just putting it out. Listen, I'm just putting it out there. If I'm streaming live and I expect you to be there ready for the call, that's, and because I would do that for you guys when you're streaming. What are you doing, Greer? I can't have this meeting. I've got to get home. I've got to get logged on. I've seen Sneaks and Sal and Dan streaming. They're in PvE. I've got to be ready to go at a moment's notice.
The boys need me.
Can you tell me why I was waiting outside of dorms for 3 hours before Gray after I triggered the mark of the Unheard and you didn't show up?
I think it was London traffic. It might have been London traffic.
I think the worst bit is say if me and Sneaks are streaming at the same time. Sneaks calls the beacon. He knows I'm streaming at the same time. What if he goes into my channel and just sees me look at this notification and then just dismiss it? That's gonna
Hey, top tier content.
Yeah.
Mr. Sneaks, you know I would never do that to you, right?
No, I know.
Let me just clear that up.
I actually want to see that though now for the lols.
Could you imagine the beacon goes out and you go into Dan's chat and you're like, "Fuck off, mate! You're getting shit on by bots. I'm busy."
I'm on the real service.
So Unheard dropped. The price was kind of through the roof. All of us, I think, we don't agree with it. Some of us were idiots and bought it on day one. Some of us were sensible and waited, and some of us obviously haven't PvE yet, but it's coming. And then on the back of that, there was moves and shakes in the genre by other games and other devs, and I'm sure we'll come on to them in a bit. And then we find ourselves at a point now where, because of those moves and shakes in the genre, the Lord and Savior Nikita is back on Twitter asking the community what they want. And is that a good move? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's really good, and it's a really positive thing that Nikita is asking these questions and looking for kind of insight and options and stuff like that. A vast majority of the people that he is going to see tweeting and see commenting, for example, Velian or Gingy, who posed the idea of removing found in raid as a thing and testing it out, which I think from the little that I've played today, it's a big win in terms of testing stuff out. Whether or not I want it permanently that's a completely different matter. But I feel like Nikita is only going to be able to listen to, or at least see, communication from people that this is their full-time job, is to play video games, right? And they have made their names in Escape from Tarkov, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think an awful lot of kind of smaller people, smaller content creators, aren't necessarily going to get their voices heard. But also, there's a vast majority of the people that play Escape from Tarkov that don't have Twitter. Let's be honest. It's not necessarily the most popular social media platform. It's fairly niche. I mean, the only reason I started a Twitter is because I started streaming.
Did you play Tarkov before, when it was anything on the flea and there was no FIR?
Yeah, I did. My first couple of wipes were like that before they bought in Found in Raid.
And what did you think of it then?
I had no issue with it. I had no issue with it at all. It was, it was cool. I understand why they introduced Founding Raid, but one of the things that I can see being a problem, not necessarily a problem, but I think you're just going to have if they keep it in place, you're just going to have the same complaints unless there's a way of dealing with it. You're going to have the same complaints, the same issues from the same people talking about hatchet running.
Hatchet running, loot, getting shoved in, and then disconnects. And it was also brought about to protect or to try and combat against RMT. They were the reasons for it. So why would they want to go back full time and undo all of that? That's what I don't get. Now, I'm not saying that. Do I think it's a bad move? Probably not. As an event, as a test for maybe 2 days, yeah, fine. So what? But then what happens at the end of that? Because if you look on Twitter right now, everybody's now saying, holy shit, yeah, this is amazing. Tarkov's gone back to how it was when it was good.
It's the nostalgia, right?
Exactly, it's the nostalgia. What about when he says, well, actually, it was just an event. We can't leave it. We can't go back to that state because of the reasons such as RMT and da-da-da-da-da. What happens? They just leave the game. They just go. Turns into another trash can fire on the Tarkov community.
Oh, I agree. And whether or not they implemented this, because I think they said it's going to be for a week, and whether or not they implemented this as like 1 week out of every month, you have like the black market, right, where you can basically sell everything. Founding Raid don't matter. I think you're right about RMT. I think that the issue is, and from the perspective of an awful lot of people, I'm not sure whether I agree with it or not, is that Battlestate was spending too much time in terms of like making changes in the game that didn't benefit the players, but restricted the players and impinged on what the players are trying to do to combat RMT and hacking, right? Which I think there needs to be a balance, but the amount of tweets and stuff that I've seen about that are just nostalgia, man. Like, I think the issue is at the end of the day, this isn't our game. This is Battlestate and Nikita's game, right? So if he wants to remove X, Y, and Z, and he wants to remove this, that, and the other, then, he's got every right to do that. And I think a lot of people are going to complain about stuff either way because they're still missing the fact that they can run around like an idiot and Ferrari peek every angle with an HK with a PKO6 on it. Like, you've got to adapt, man. Like, the game is going to change regardless of whether you like it or not. Like,
the game was never designed to be that, was it?
No, not at all.
It was meant to be a hardcore survival MMO RPG PvPvE, yeah? But the focus of the community has got so lost that everybody thinks, or a large majority, think that it is a PvP game.
Yeah, 100%. Rats versus Chad's thing, and it's just,
I feel like PvP's kind of became the gauge of like how good you are at the game. Pretty much, yeah.
For me, like, when you have people coming and saying, "Oh, what's your stats? What do you mean? What's my stats?" Like, I'm 5'10", 13 stone 5. no,
I never show them.
To be killed. Like, why is that relevant?
I never show my stats on stream. People ask, I just say, just enjoy watching.
Yeah, it just
doesn't matter what my stats are. I'm just having fun.
It hasn't happened for a long time, but it used to happen way back like 2019, 2020. And then at the peak of when COVID time and stuff like that. But it's just like, I just don't get that. I just don't, like, do you play the game, dude? Yeah. Do you enjoy it? Yeah, great. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. That's what matters to me. Like, I enjoy the game.
I don't mind admitting it. I'm absolutely ass at PvP. I can win a fight if I get lucky, or if I manage to get a little bit of an advantage. But for me, I always play the mid to the long range game. I like sneaking up on fights. I like listening to it all kicking off and then going like a little peeping Tom, like a little snooper, having a little look through a little sight and seeing them. And then when it's all done, shooting somebody in the back of the head and then taking everybody's loot.
I remember preparing for a tournament. The day that the tournament was meant to happen, I played the best Tarkov I've ever played in my life. And
my God, I didn't know who you were. Yeah. Honestly, if you had looked at the stream before and that stream, you could make a valid argument that you were fucking hacking. You were murdering everything. It was great. It was so good to watch. And I remember typing in chat, you do realise that the tournament's in a couple of weeks now, right?
Yeah. It's been moved.
Glorious made a really good point. I saw him tweet it earlier. I've been playing this game for 6 years and I've seen all the changes because some complainers ruined the fun we had. And again, it's the same shit, only listening to streamers, but not the people who have fun. In-game vote and let everyone vote and have a chance. And I think that is entirely valid. And that is coming from someone who is incredibly PvP based. Like that man has absolutely violated me on several maps.
Well, he's very grounded as well as an individual.
Yeah. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and I think that kind of voice is valid. Like I think you're going to end up pandering. You're going to end up pandering to the people that constantly stream the game because it's their full-time job, right?
Yeah. So the ones with the biggest communities on Twitter as well, because all of this, all of these ideas have been posted on Twitter. So the people with the highest engagement are getting seen and read by Nikita.
It's a clever move of Nikita because everything that's happened, he's dragged it all back to him and his game, and it's trending again. And it's very clever. But then when the majority of the less than intelligent parts of the community realize they've been played, they'll just go up the wall again, and then it'll be another dumpster fire.
It needs to be using something along the lines of like user voice. I'm sure everyone here's probably used it.
Yeah.
But the idea is you post an idea on there and then people read through it and vote on the ones that they like. The ones with the highest votes then climb the ladder to get seen.
Or even like an in-game polling system. Like how easy, that's got to be fairly easy to implement, even in like the loading screen, man.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout to have something like that in the game. And like you said, it's not really that hard to implement. I mean, it's just going to be like a poll system, right? Where they can do 1 or 2 posts a week or, 1 post every 2 weeks. It doesn't really matter how frequent they are. As long as they've got something for the community to engage in, I think it's going to be a massive win if Battlestate Games can implement that into the game.
I think Pastelli mentioned that like years and years ago.
Long time. I remember that.
5-6 years ago, Pest mentioned that, like just stick it in there because people who play the game are in the game, so they'll see it. And he'd said the same as you, Sneaks. I think, like not everybody's on Twitter, not everybody's on Reddit, not everybody reads it and sees it. And so, his concern way back was that what you guys have just kind of led to there was that it was getting picked up by not the wrong people, but by only a small percentage of people, and it wasn't affecting the overall community or player base.
It's only going to benefit those that play in X, Y, or Z style, whereas like ourselves, like a lot of the people within our kind of smaller space within the community, like a lot of us like to, look at Gaz, like a lot of us like to snipe, but like a lot of us like to play the long game. A lot of us can kind of find a balance and play really aggressive and then kind of play slow and passive. And, we're probably not the, and I'm speaking for myself, like I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely not the person to come for like top tier, like I'm the greatest Tarkov PvPer of all time, because I'm not. Because actually, even with nearly 5,000 hours in the game, I'm still fucking shit.
Yeah, same over two accounts. Someone like, I think 4,800 hours.
I think for me, the PvP is a fun aspect of it, but it can also be an absolute pain in the arse. I kind of get my enjoyment out of, finding things in Raid, getting that buzz of finding the first flash drive or finding the gas analyzer. And don't get me wrong, like PvP can provide some of the best content in the game. And, if I get into a scrap with another player on Escape from Tarkov, there's probably a 24% chance that I'm actually going to come out of that raid alive.
Yeah, I'm bloody rubbish, but I love it. I didn't mind being rubbish at it. I absolutely love the challenge that's Tarkov.
Oh, this game has honestly ruined other FPS games for me. There's nothing like it, man.
So that's a great lead in for us to talk about this week's like diet Coke version of Tarkov that dropped. We're saying there's nothing like Tarkov. However, this week we got something that looked pretty similar to Tarkov, didn't we?
Arena Breakout Infinite. I've got a copy of it.
Yeah,
I haven't
same.
played it yet. I'm going to give it a go this week. I've seen a lot of positive things from it in terms of like quality of life stuff that is missing in Tarkov, and stuff that it combats RMT. And I was talking about this in stream yesterday. Like there seem to be an awful lot of positives, but I I've also seen that people have called it soulless, like it's like the Wish.com version of Tarkov, and it just doesn't have a soul. And then there's a lot of concerning things about potential code being stolen and stuff like that.
Yeah, the flip side of the coin is that there's also a lot of people who've said it's fun, it's got quick loading times, and they don't care about the code being stolen because that's not a them issue. That's not a them issue. That's a BSG issue.
I mean, I'm the same as Mr. Sneaks. I've got the game on Steam, but I just haven't given it the time of day. I'm not saying that I won't give it the time of day. I'm just saying that for me, it just feels like a 5-minute game. You know, and by 5-minute game, I mean, I'm going to pick it up, I'm going to play it for a few hours, and then I'm just going to put it into the archive with the other games.
I played it off stream, but
I saw you uninstalled it as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it's gone.
And why is that?
It's kind of going off what Sneak said. It does feel very soulless to me.
Right.
As soon as I load into a Tarkov raid, I'm fully immersed. I don't know. It's just got more heart to it. I don't know. It feels more alive.
Yeah, it's got a pulse.
Yeah. But with that, it just didn't.
Kind of just feels like a bit of a cash grab, right?
Well, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's how it's going to make its money on pay to win. Which is, for me, the ironic thing is that everybody's gone up the wall about Tarkov.
An RMT and pay to win, yeah.
And pay to win. Yeah, you know, some people have gone across the ABI this week and they've gone, oh yes, it's great, it's fun, quick loading times, I enjoy it. What about the pay to win bit? Oh yeah, I don't care about that. Hang on a minute, you were all over Twitter last week.
Just swept under the rug now, isn't it?
Yeah. One of the really interesting things that I've noticed and that I saw mentioned on Twitter as well is that they are definitely paving the way for microtransactions, because if you look at the streamers that are playing it a lot of them are broke as fucking game, because the amount of money that you get for completing quests or X, Y, and Z is very low. And then the stuff that you want to buy to run your meta kits and X, Y, and Z is very, very high. So it's not a direct port from a mobile game, right? But it's based on a mobile game that had in-game purchase options and stuff like that. And I mean, I guess it's a way of dealing with RMT, because you're just doing it yourself as a developer, right?
Right, that's the end of the episode, guys. Thanks very much for listening to episode 1. We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly had a blast bringing you this content and recording it. Check us out on the socials, where you can find all of our links, and be sure to share it with your friends. Get in touch with us. You could be a future guest here on the podcast.